Hello, my friends. Good afternoon. The wind is howling, racing, and threatening to undo everything we do. I try in my life. Wait. I'm Pastor Lou. This is the Pastor's Chat. Come on in. Have a seat. If you have a coat on, take it off. Relax. You're among friends here. I often forget that part of the ritual of me doing a conversation in my office has always been me being aware that there's a great deal of anxiety that accompanies coming in to talk to the pastor. And I know it's there because I've been in the other I've been on the other side. I served as an associate pastor for 10 years and had a pastor and would make appointments. We had regular times to sit and to talk so that our relationship would stay intact. But sometimes I would ask him if he had some time to talk. And he was a great pastor. I liked his advice. I liked his listening. But I don't know. It's funny. I never knew what I was going to say when I went in there. I knew that I felt like it was time for me to talk and to listen. Anyway, have you ever gone to sit down and talk with a pastor? Now, I want to tell you this. I know that sometimes conversations with pastors are an opportunity for you to say, there's something that's happening that I'm not okay with here in the community. And that's okay. That's a legitimate role, purpose a pastor plays. Sometimes I've been in this chair when it was me. They wanted to talk about things they were unhappy with about me. And there's my yawn. It's actually a minute or two early today. Yeah. Sometimes people will come in and talk to the pastor about the pastor. And sometimes there's good reasons. But more often than not, these chats are, I don't know, in the universe that God has made, life is about relationships. Even if you're a hermit, even if you are a person who's declared that you're not going to be around people, your life is still lived in reference to people, to relationships with people. You just happen to have declared them always to be over there. In some ways, it's a shame that relationships are such a big part of life because they're so complicated. When they're good, they're good. And when they're not, they're really complex and complicated. And if you try to work on relationships, there's always the fact that it's you, in a way, trying to work on yourself, and you can't really see yourself and know yourself, and yet you can see and react to another person. Woo! Wow. So for the last week, we were drawing on some strengths of relationships. We were, first of all, letting the ancients teach us how to deal with things that go bump in the night and things that go bump in our life that frighten us to the very end sometimes. And that, I guess I want to say, summarizing the word from the ancients, is that hiding from those things is not necessarily a good thing. Denial, I think, the contemporary way of talking about it would be in denial. It just doesn't help. It puts it away, but it doesn't help us to cope. So, again, summarizing my view of Halloween is an invitation for a kind of mental health, believe it or not. Put it right out there in the open. And masquerade it, burlesque it, dress it up. Deal with it in a way that you can laugh at it, but don't deny it. And then the next movement, which we talked about, was that All Saints' Day was draw on the strength of strong people around you. Draw on their strength. You can do that. You can draw on their strength. And especially people that have loved you and you think, well, they've died. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can draw on the strength of their strength. In the very ancient times, I always, without trying to shock people, I try to remind people that in the Hebrew Bible, you lived on through your descendants. They didn't really have a big developed idea of life after death. They had life after life, which came through your descendants. Mostly, unfortunately, that was for males. So you had men who were named, and their name would be the same as their father and their father's father, and that whole idea was that life passes life on to life, and you live on through the life of those that have gone before you. It was only, as I said, for the most part, it was only thought of as available to men, but males, that's just an unfortunate limited sight. But drawing from the strength of how they saw things, acknowledging the weakness and the confusion of it, the strength of it is that we live on through trails that are blazed already by someone else. And that's good. Now today, lest I just repeat myself from last week, I want to add this part to it. On the other hand, we ought not to enshrine those that have gone on before us to the point that our own life and our own significance, that our stamp that we need to make on this life, is overlooked. You have something to add. You have something to add. And all of the talk about dealing with the brokenness in an open way, drawing on the strengths of those that have gone on before, does not help us to escape the call for us to make our own stand and to become a light for others, for maybe our children, or maybe our friends, or those that are depressed, who need us to be strong. Who need us to be strong. It's one thing to think in great gratitude and love about the people that we've known and have gone on, but they have now ushered us forward in this life. It's time for us now to do this work. The work sometimes of inspiring others, finding someone who's down or depressed or discouraged. It's easy to find them in this pandemic. It's easy to find people who are overwhelmed. They're there by the thousands and thousands right now. People discouraged. Elderly people who feel like giving up because they feel trapped and their life has become so small. It was small enough as it was, but now, in order to protect their life, they have to kind of give up their life. and live in small apartments with just maybe one person or maybe by themselves. Maybe that's you. What I want you to think about is that in your attempts to stand on your feet and to be strong, there is another movement of it, and that is to be a saint for someone else. Call someone up. Think about them. Write a letter to them. Especially someone that you know is having a hard time. And don't, you know this, right? Don't give people advice. Just give them encouragement. Tell them the good things that you know about them. Don't lie to them. We used to say, don't blow smoke in their direction. But tell them the truth of what you know about them, what you admire about them. Tell them that you believe in them, if you do. Because every generation can stand on the shoulders of the generation before, but we also need to be creating broad shoulders of our own lives. And it's the second movement. Serve somebody. Reach out. Do something for someone else. If you think just a little bit, you might be surprised, even as limited maybe as your life is. You don't know how to do email, or you don't know how to do all the things that people do. Just pick up the telephone and call someone. You don't know their number? Spend a week trying to find it. Ask someone to help you. It makes a difference when in your circumstance someone realizes that whatever's going on in your life, you thought about them. And you came to them, if for nothing else, to tell them that you were thinking about them. It's one thing in our lives to deal effectively and to cope effectively with the challenges that are in front of us. But you can't stop there. Life is a process. It's an ever ongoing journey. It's always drawing from the past, living in the present, but then it calls you to build that present that you have that is life-giving for someone else. So on the day after All Saints' Day, I say, be a saint. Be someone's saint. Can you do that? I think you can. Now, I'm not asking you to butt into people's lives. Years ago, in a church I was working in, we had a large group of people who were, I'll call them semi-retired. They had left their main work. Some of them still worked part-time, volunteered at the hospital, or did some kinds of things to keep busy in their lives, but they had more time than they'd ever had before. And we were in a fairly large church, and so we thought maybe it would be a really good thing. I think there were 13 or 14 adults who joined in this ministry. We called it the caring ministry. Oh, we called it the care team. Just as a side joke. When I was doing some conversation and recruiting, one church member said, I don't want to be in the care team. I want to be in the I don't care team. Never got around to forming that one, but there might have been more people in that than the other one. Anyway, so we did this care team, and we asked people to come together in the group and to be interpersonal, to share some of who they were with each other and sort of open up a little bit about who they were as a way of trying to prepare them for this work of being helpful in other people's lives. If you're going to be a wall and you want to be, unavailable to people, you're not going to be helpful in a caring team. So we did some work. We went on a beautiful retreat at the ocean down to the shore. Had some great time of sharing and team building and caring among ourselves, all getting ready to go out and to engage in sensitive caring for people in the community. You didn't even have to be in our church. One of the greatest challenges, though, in trying to be saints for others was the enormous temptation to overcome the awkwardness by giving advice or by trying to fix things for people. And then people would become very polite and say, "Oh, that's a great idea, thank you very much." It's hard. It's hard to stay focused on just being a presence for someone, being an encourager, especially if they're depressed or discouraged. Helping them to think for themselves about their own situation in new ways. It's hard. It's hard. But it's not impossible. I once visited, I was called upon, as part of the team of chaplains in a hospital, and on my night to be on shift, I got called out of my bed, actually, and I went down to the city hospital, and oh, what a chaotic scene it was. A very, very large family, husband and wife, grandmother and grandfather present, children, adult children with their children, all in the hospital, The father, I guess he'd had a heart attack. And they didn't know if he was going to live. It wasn't good. The news was not good, and the whole family had come. And there was a prolonged time trying to decide what to do, what not to do, and the family stayed. So I didn't know them, but they were open, very open to having a pastor present with them. I was there from the early hours of the morning through the whole day. I never left. I called my office and said, "I'm just going to be here with these folks." And I didn't really say a whole lot. I didn't. I sat with them when they cried, told stories that made them cry. It was moving, and I was moved. I literally worked very hard on being what I said to my caring ministry partners: be a presence. Be a presence. Be someone with them. Don't worry about fixing them or advice for them or doing for them. They ask you to do something, don't say no, but be a presence. You'd be surprised how nothing is so much. Nothing can be so much. So it's the beginning of our life on the day after All Saints' Day. The echoes of the strength of the saints can still be heard in the cathedrals and in the buildings. The pictures that enshrine them, and we think about them, and the pictures in our own mantelpieces, and the people we have lived with that we've lost, and the people who have been in our lives at important times that have shaped us. Now, my friends, it's Monday. It's time to go to work. Now, after we sing For All the Saints, now we would sing, "Come, labor on, no time for idle." I don't know all the words. Beautiful, beautiful song. Encouraging us now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's be saints. Let's care about one another. And let's care in a way that people don't have to defend themselves from us. Simple, simple tasks. A telephone call. Maybe a visit, although in the culture today you call ahead and ask if it's okay. I don't know, cupcake on the front porch. A card in the mail. Let's be saints, my friends. Saints aren't perfect. That's not what sainthood is about. Ask Mother Teresa. Read her story. She'll tell you she's far, far, far from perfect, even in faith. But she engaged in the practice of faith for others with an attention to what they needed and what they didn't need. Knowing mostly the power of presence, being there. It's funny in a way, I'm hoping that these video chats are a way for me to be with you. I feel like they are. I hear from you. You talk to me, you send me letters, you send me emails. And it's just bizarre to me that in this way we are present to each other. May God bless you as you seek to be a blessing in the places where you are. As you seek to rise above the circumstances that might depress you and knock you down, knock you out. Hold on to the faith. Press on. Press on, my friends, and engage in the ministries of saints. For of such is life, and it's the purpose that God has called us to. It's good to talk to you today. Monday, the beginning of a new week. Tomorrow's election day, and oh my goodness, the concerns and worries about the future from decisions that we will make. Who knows? But God will be with us in everything. I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friends. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in.